Okay, good morning. Today we are going to talk about the triangle sum theorem. The items that I'm going to use today, my straight edge, I'm going to have a pencil, I'm going to have a red pen or a colored pen, and I'm going to have a highlighter. So you want to have those. You're going to take these notes in your triangle notebook. So you want to have that up and open up to the next half sheet of paper. So let's get started. The triangle sum theorem states the sum of the angle measures, the sum of the angle measures of a triangle is 180 degrees. But how do we know that? I'm going to show you how we're going to prove that in a quick proof that involves this shape. Now this shape is a rectangle. So we have opposite sides are congruent, and we have 4 right angles. So since it is a rectangle, we know we have 4 right angles. And what we can do is we can say that we have 4 90-degree angles. And how many total degrees is that? Well, that is 360 total degrees for a rectangle. Now, if I were to take my straight edge and I were to draw a diagonal line, my diagonal line goes right through here, and what I have created with my diagonal line, because it is reflexive, 1, 2, 3, it is congruent to itself, I have created 1, 2 congruent triangles. Okay, so because we could do a couple of different ways. You could do side, side, side triangle congruence. You could do hypotenuse, leg triangle congruence. So there are multiple, 2 different ways to prove that they are congruent. So if they're congruent, I've created 2 congruent triangles. So if there are 360 degrees in your rectangle, and we have split that into 2 equal sides, we're going to take our 360 degrees, we're going to divide it by 2, and that will give us 180 degrees in each of the 2 triangles. Okay, so that is a quick proof of how we got 180 degrees for the angles. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little line here, and I'm going to say in geometry, we always want to use an equation. Therefore, our equation is always going to be angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3, because we have 3 different angles in the triangle, is going to equal 180 degrees. So whenever you are solving for the interior angles of a triangle, the 3 angles added together equal 180 degrees. Okay? Now that you have that, let's go down to the examples. I'm going to do the examples on the left side, and I want you to match the examples on the right. You'll bring them into school tomorrow, and we'll go over them. Number 1, the first one is very straightforward. We're looking for this angle. We have an 80-degree angle, we have a 40-degree angle, and we have our question mark. When you add them together, you equal 180. There's your equation. Now we're just going to solve for our question mark. So 80 plus 40 is 120, plus our question mark equals 180. Subtract 120 from both sides. You get our question mark is equal to 60 degrees. So this measurement would be 60 degrees. Okay? Why don't you try this one, come up with your answer. Now we're going to do number 3. And number 3 is a little bit different. It has got a 40 at 65, but it's also got an x plus 81. So now we're going to solve for x. Okay, so our second one would be our first angle plus our second angle, 40 plus 65, plus x plus 81 is going to equal 180 degrees. Okay, solving this equation, we're going to add 40 plus 65 would be 105, plus 81 would be x plus 186, x plus 186 degrees is equal to 180. We subtract 186, subtract 186, and we get x is equal to a negative 6. And the question is, can that be accurate? Well, yeah, that can be accurate because we're just solving for x. If we were to substitute the negative 6 back into x, it would be negative 6 plus 81, and that would be 75. So you would have 75 degrees, which is fine, because the angle measurement has to be positive, because you cannot have negative degrees on an angle. Okay? The third one, we're going to come back and we're going to solve for our question mark. Okay? Now, what do we notice here? We have two triangles. The 31 degrees is this angle right here. We have two triangles. We've got two measurements over here. We've got one measurement over here in this triangle, and we have an unknown. The one thing we do know is that the bottom triangle is equal to 180 degrees. I'm going to slide it up a little bit for you. So in the bottom triangle, and I'm going to do it right over here, I'm going to say 25 plus 26 plus, and then I'm going to say this one is x, equals 180 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to go 25 plus 26 is 51, plus x is equal to 180. We're going to subtract the 51 from both sides. These cancel out, and you get x is equal to 180 minus 51 would be 129 degrees. Now, we're going to use that value of 129 degrees, and we're going to say that these two angles are vertical angles. So what we have over here is another 129 degrees, and I'm just going to draw an arrow into there. 129 degrees there as well. So now we have 129 here, we have 31. So we'll go back to that exact same equation up here of the three angles. And we'll go 129 degrees plus 31 degrees plus our question mark is equal to 180. Okay, then 129 plus 31, that'd be 160 degrees, plus our question mark is equal to 180. Subtract our 160, subtract our 160, and you get our question mark is equal to 20 degrees. And this is our answer there. So on the first one, very straightforward. We're just adding the numbers up to 180 degrees. On the second one, we had to solve for x. Again, they still added up to 180 degrees. On the third one, you had to do multi-steps because you had two different triangles. But when you have two angles in one triangle, you can figure out the third. And then we used vertical angles to have two angles in the other triangle to figure out our unknown. Okay, I hope this helps. Do these number 2, 4, and 6 for homework. Come on in tomorrow. We'll go over your answers. If you have any questions, not sure, watch this video again. Have a great day.